Hi everybody, welcome to day one of actual stitching of our project. So if you haven't already posted your design and you want to, then go ahead and post that in the group because I know, everyone wants to see it. So today we're going to be doing some netting, and hopefully you've kind of thought about what sort of netting you want to do. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about netting, and it's possibly going to blow your mind if you don't already know this. So peyote stitch, a lot of us know peyote stitch. And there's a difference between even stitch and odd stitch. So for even stitch, we would put on an even number. So we'd put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beads in a line, right? So we have 8 beads. And then we just add another one next to it. And we turn around. And we go down, boop, 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 boop. And with even stitch, you don't have to do funny turnaround. You just add the next one and you carry on your way, right? And then you add the next one, you carry on. It's really simple. Now with odd peyote stitch, say we started with a line of 9. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we've got 9 beads, pretend they're in a line. We can do our turn easily. So we add our bead, go back down. And then we kind of tootle along like we normally do. And then we get to the end and we're like, oh, we have to add a bead, right? You guys know how this goes. You have to turn around and you have to go back. And then what do? Then you add another bead, and then you kind of, you come out this way, and you go down here, and then you can carry on your way, right? And this side's always normal, and this side you always get here and you have to do this funny little like turn around thing so you're ready to then pop down into the next one, right? With peyote stitch. Peyote stitch is actually exactly the same as netting. It just doesn't have the in-between stitches to it that we have in netting. Okay, so netting, we have extra beads in between, but it's essentially the same stitch. So if you start with an even number of joining beads, so say for instance, like these are 8 O's, okay, and these are 11 O's, just pretend, okay, and I want 2 in between each one. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want a flat top, so it's very easy to just go across, add another little bit, and then come back down again, right? Very simple, very easy. And when I get to the bottom, if I want a flat join again, I just keep going, and it's nice and simple. So if you don't want complicated turns, make sure that you start with an even number of joins, okay? Now if you have an odd number and you start with an odd number, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? The turnaround at the top's very simple. We just turn around, and even here it's simple, okay? So here we have choices. We can kind of carry on, doop, doop, doop. And then at the top here, we have to decide if we want it flat across. We have to kind of go down here. We have to skip around these beads here. So you would leave out that one, and then you could carry on your way, okay? Or maybe you don't want it to be flat there and you just want to start another triangle. That's fine. You can just do that. So that makes it easy if you want like a jagged edge and you're doing an odd number, okay? And same thing here. If you're doing an odd number, say we came down, we finished our first one, but you don't want this bit here, you can circle around and then do your next bit here. Okay, so that's the nice thing about netting stitch, is you can kind of add extra diamonds on the end. You can kind of customize it a little bit more, but if you don't want a funny turnaround, start with an even number. Okay, so there you go. If you didn't already know that, now you know it. So we are going to be doing this 2-drop. This is called 2-drop netting. So there's 2 in between each join. Okay. 1-drop netting would have, you know, you'd have your ones and you just have 1 in between each one. Okay, and then obviously 0-drop netting would be peyote stitch. But you can have more beads in between, you can have less beads in between. It's so obviously the more beads you have in between, the bigger your netting is going to be. So here is a little bit of 2-drop netting that we'll work on later on. And you can see I have like the joining bead here. Let me get a bit closer so you can see. There's a joining bead, then there's 2 beads. Then a joining bead and 2 beads, joining bead, 2 beads, okay? And then here, I decided I wanted to use bigger beads. I want it to be much more airy and spaced out. So I have, you know, a bugle bead. I have actually 3 beads in between. I have this little 11, then a bugle, then an 11, and then I have this 8-0, which is my joining bead. So you can really customize the look. And if you don't want 1 bead for your join, you can have 2, you can have 3, you can make it look like hexagons if you have 3 going up, 3 going sideways, 3 going up, 3 going sideways. So you can kind of form different shapes by adding more beads that are the join. So say that instead of having 1 bead here, I would have 3 beads here. And you can see here also, I've begun shaping it. So this is my backdrop on my piece that I wanted to be nice and airy and floaty. And I'm going to shape it up like this. So it's like a V shape. So all I've been doing is I go up to the top and then I come back down again. But instead of continuing here, I just sew around my 8-0 and then I carry on back up to here and then I just keep going, okay? All right, so we're going to, for the beginners who are freaking out right now, we're gonna start stitching a basic cuff. So I'm gonna use 2 different colors. I'm gonna use this kind of more purple color and this more blue color for you. Those are the Miyuki numbers if you're curious what colors I'm using. So the blue is 279 and the purple is 286. So we're gonna start stitching a cuff. So let me just get my needle threaded and we'll work through that. Okay, so I threaded my needle with about 4 feet of thread and I've put a stop bead on the end of my tail. And the nice thing about netting is that it covers a lot of ground very quickly. It works up quickly, so that's nice. So for my cuff, I want it to be 5 units tall, so 1 extra unit on this basically is what I want. So I need to pick up 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, plus 1 for my start row. So I need to pick up 28 beads. So I'm gonna, I want to kind of wave effect, so I'm using 2 colors. So I'm gonna have like 1 row of purple, 1 row of blue, 1 row of purple, 1 row of blue. So I'm gonna pick up 28, which will be my starting row of my purple beads. And I'm just going to double check that I picked up the right number. Okay, which I did pick up the right number. So now, to go over to my next row, I need to pick up 5 beads. So I'm going to pick up 2 purple for the top here. And then I'm going to pick up 3 blue. Okay, so I've got my 5 beads, my 2 purple, and my 3 blue, which you probably can't really even tell the difference, but they are. And then what I want to do, before I push that down, is I want to count back to the 4th bead of my original beads. So that's 1 corner. Then my 2, and then this is the join right here. So I want to count back 4. That's on my original row. So that when I close it up, I have this. Okay. So these 2 are like the in-between top beads right here. Okay. So now all I'm going to do is pick up 5. And then I'm going to skip 5 and sew into the 6th. And I'm going to do that all the way down. So pick up 5 beads. Okay. And then here I am. I'm going to count. I'm going to go. So I'm not counting the one that I'm coming out of. I'm not counting this one. I'm starting at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to sew into number 6. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way until I get to the bottom. And your last bead should be the one right before your stop bead. Okay? So if you've counted correctly, that's how it should work out. So I'm picking up 5. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm sewing into the 6th bead. And you'll notice on mine that my colors are kind of crisscrossing all over the place. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'll worry about that on the way back up, okay? So go ahead, do your 2 more loops, and I'll come back once I've done that. Okay, so I've just come out of the bottom here. So I'm ready now to go across and start my next row. So because I used the purple on the top here, I'm going to use the blue here. So I'm going to pick up my 2 to go across, plus 3 of my next color, which is purple. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. So I'm still always picking up 5. I'm just switching colors. But if you're only doing 1 color, all you need to do is count 5 and go into the 6th bead. So here, here's the one I'm coming out of, which is like the bottom, right? I'm going to skip those 2. So we have 5 right here. I'm going to sew into the 3rd one right here, okay? So I have 2 above it, 2 below it. And I'm just going to sew through there. And I need to kind of tighten it all up. So you should have what looks like this at the bottom, okay? It'll make more sense when you pick up your next 5. So again, I'm doing purple on this row. So I've picked up my 5 purple. I need to make sure I'm sewing into a blue one, because remember how they've flipped back and forth. So 1, 2, 3. I'm sewing into the 3rd one on the next little unit here. Okay. And now I have this, and you can kind of see the net is starting to appear. Okay, so here I need to just turn this because my blue flipped over to the wrong side. So again, I'm going to pick up 5, making sure I'm sewing into the blue one, and I'm going into the third one on that string of 5. Okay. And I'm just going to do it 2 more times. So I'm going to sew into this one and this one. And then when we get to the top, I'll show you what to do. Okay, so again, I'm coming out of the top corner, which is a blue bead, and I have some purples at the top here. So this side at the top is all going to be purple. This side, it's all going to be blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my 2 purple to go across the way, plus my 3 blue. Okay, so, and obviously if you're doing all one color, just pick up 5, and then you can see where to go instantly, because here's my little group. I'm going into that 3rd one there. Okay, and when you get to the top, you have to kind of tighten a little bit more carefully to make sure that this bit is still tight. So now you're just going to keep going 5 into this one, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, until you get to the length that fits around your wrist, or a little shorter because you'll want to leave room for your clasp. And that will be the base of your cuff. So that's if you're doing a cuff. If you're doing a necklace, you can do whatever you want. You know, the netted, you can do the netting all the way around like I showed you yesterday, or you could just do like a little bit. Or you could do none if you really don't like netting and you don't want to do it. I'm not making you do it. You can use one of the other stitches to join everything together. Anyway, so let me show you another variation on what we're doing. Okay, so on my sketch, if you recall, I actually wanted to have like a rope that was kind of, not a rope, a net that was kind of ripped up and, you know, like an old fishing net. So you can see like the edge here is already starting to look a little ragged. So I'm going to show you what to do if you want this kind of effect. So I've just turned at the top here and I'm about to make my way down. So first of all, I'll show you what to do here where I have a hole, okay? So you just work down as you normally would. And here, this is like 2, a unit of 2. So I'm picking up 5, so 2 plus the middle one plus the 2, just like we've been doing, okay? And I just will quickly work down to right here where I want to extend my net downward. Okay, so here is where I kind of put like a rip, and I have 2 choices. So here I left a little tail, so I could join right here and just have a little extra rip there, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to work all the way down to here. So I just have to count how many units I have here. So if you look at where you're coming out from, and on your netting, you will be at this join, right? So you look at the join. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 units that I need to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 5, which would be my next unit. So plus the 1, which would be my join, because it's not there. Then I would pick up 5 again, plus my join. So that's 2 units. I need 2 more. So I'd pick up 5 again, plus my join. And then this is the 4th unit. So I pick up my 5, and my join is going to be right here. Okay. Now, so here I kind of have like a rip. So how do I want to indicate that? Well, I could either just turn around by going literally back up 2 and then start the next unit right here. So you would just have your thread going around that one bead that you're coming out of. Okay, that's one option. But if you want a little like dangly bit, like where the rope, why do I keep calling it a rope? Where it was ripped, you can pick up any number of seed beads. So I'm just going to pick up 5, and then you can just, as we did the other, or as we will do when we get to the fringe page, you just skip the first one and you go back up again. And that's just going to put a little like bit of straggly bit on my unit, so it looks kind of like, oh, that's where it ripped. Okay. So now maybe I want my my net to come up here from where I've already been. So how do I get back down here now that I've built this on? Well, it was a fringe, so I can just sew back down through 2. Okay. So you don't have to go up all of them. You could just build part of it, and then I could start my 5 and go up this way. Or maybe if I want to start back here, I can just start it there. So you have various options of what you want to do. So let's say I'm going to do it here. So I just pick up my 5. Okay. And I'm just going to look, so that's the join, so I need 2. I need the third one after the join, and I just pop up right into there. Okay, and then I can just continue on like I normally would. And you can put rips at the end, you can put rips in the middle and just skip a whole section, and then just like I showed you, work your way back down and fill that in. You can even add a new thread and fill in down here. There are a lot of options, so don't be intimidated. Just kind of see what you can come up with, because I think you'll be able to come up with some really fun things. And as I'm going here, maybe I want to put like another little bit poking out here. I can do that. Maybe I just want a really short one with just 1 bead right here. Okay, so I'll pick up 2 beads, push them down, and I can just turn around. So I'm skipping the very first bead, and I'm just going to go straight into the second bead. And then I'll just continue on in the direction that I was going. Actually, I'm not even going into the right bead here. Okay, so this is my join bead. So that's the one I want to go into. And even though I went out the top, I can still go into the bottom of it. That's fine. Okay. So now that kind of gives the illusion like, oh, this was somehow joined, but it ripped. Okay. Now, obviously, you know, if you're a beginner, you might not want to deal with all this, but if you're an intermediate or an advanced beader, I want you to try and maybe make a feature, or at least experiment with this. Even if it's not part of your piece, you can kind of practice giving like rips in your piece. Okay. Okay, so I've worked back up, and say I wanted to make a rip right here, and I kind of don't want the top to be all pretty the way it is at the moment. So I have several options. I could either go up and kind of create a little fringe right here, and then come back down to here and keep going. Or maybe I just want to miss like the whole top section, so I could pick up 5. Okay, so that would be like where it rejoins, but I don't actually want it to rejoin, so then what I can do is I can have this become my third one, kind of become like the point, and then my 2 down, and then I only need 3, so I need this side plus 2. So I grab that side plus 2, and I just go straight down here. And then that's like, so that would be that, this bead right here would be like the point where this joins. So see how like the diamonds are? So that way my diamond is the same size. I'm just missing a section here, just like something took a bite out of it, a little bit ripped off. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't manufactured very well. Who knows? So that's one way of doing that, okay? And then say I want to, let me just do one more regular unit. And let's say I want to skip a whole section here. I just want to kind of make a hole, right? So I know I have 5. So again, I'm doing just kind of what I did before. Or maybe I want there to be a much wider hole right here. So all I have to do is I have to turn around and go back up and kind of weave over and then weave back down like we did here. I want there to be a kind of bigger hole right here. So I'm just coming at the bottom here. I'm going to turn around just by literally going up the next 3 beads. So I'm coming out in this direction from that kind of joining bead, and I'm just turning and I'm going up my 2 plus into my joining bead. And in that way, I've effectively turned around. I can pick up my next 5 beads and I can go into my join here, okay? Okay, so maybe here is where I wanted the rip to end, and it restarted. So what I want to do is I want to rejoin onto this bit. So I'm going to pick up my 2 that would finish the top plus the corner plus my 2 that would go across the way plus my 2 that would go down. So I'm picking up 2, my corner, 2, my corner, and then I'm going to go down, and I want to rejoin onto the one that would be our join right here. Okay, so I have this loop, and then I can just go through my 2, right here. So I'll come down my 2, and I can just continue on until I get to my next point here. Okay. And then I could continue on here. So this is where we made a hole, so I need to pick up the slack for that by sewing down. But yeah, you can kind of just, as long as you're counting your units and you know that there's a corner plus 2 plus a corner plus 2 plus corner plus 2, you can pretty much make any kind of shapes that you want, or rips or like skips or any of that stuff. So just keep practicing, have some fun, don't stress about it, okay? It's supposed to be a fun exercise and you're supposed to kind of figure things out and learn things. So one thing I do want to mention is that if you are struggling to make sense of where your holes are in your netting, I highly recommend you can download netting charts off the internet, and a lot of places have them for free, and you can actually draw like your holes, and then you can count how many beads you need to skip, because obviously if you're doing a big hole you might have to account for going sideways as well as up and down, so you might want to you might need to leave like 2 or 5 extra ones to create the width. So if you download a chart and you kind of color what you want it to look like, and then you'll be able to count more easily how many beads when you're skipping over you actually do need. So I hope that little tip helps. Okay, so have fun doing your netting today and good luck with that. And if you don't finish today, that's okay. Just, finish it tomorrow or whenever. We will have some days where we'll just be making a little bit, and, there's no deadlines, or nobody's gonna be angry if you don't finish. So this, like I said, this is supposed to be a fun exercise. So just see what you come up with, and I can't wait to see how you guys do. All right, I'll see you tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to be doing the Ogallala stitch, which is it's related to netting, but it's a really fun ruffle, which I think you're gonna really like a lot. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye bye.